Hello everyone, Clay Frederick of the Horror Franchise, back at it with another ranking video. Today, since I did the ranking of the Resident Evil games recently, I thought I'd take it upon myself to go ahead and rank most of the movies and animated CGI movies as well. There are a couple I will not be including in this list just to get this right off the bat. Resident Evil Damnation, the CGI movie, I have never seen. I'd like to see it, but I will not be including it on this list. And the Netflix series that I heard was just god awful. Never watched it, have no desire to watch it, so I'm not including this one either. There are 11 movies in total that I will be adding to this list. Now, this is a very weird list, just giving you guys a heads up. Some of these I've pretty much are neck and neck. Today will be this list. It might change tomorrow or the next day, but I know the vast majority of these are pretty much in the right place for me. But just give you another thing to say, it's my personal list. I'm ranking these in terms of enjoyment, nothing more, because that's all these movies are. They're entertainment purposes. They don't get in there just to watch plot, character development, all that. It's pure entertainment and enjoyment. That's how I'm going to rank these. I did the same thing with the games. I'm doing it with this one. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Number 11. I've only seen this movie once, and for good reason. It's going to be Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. Now, I have heard, I've never seen it in the theater. I got it in 4K, unfortunately. I knew that they made some changes, but they've also retained some aspects from the games. Obviously, it's heavily influenced by Remake 2, and it took elements from the first Resident Evil game and the second Resident Evil game. I think a lot was too much was put into this movie. And they tried to cover the Raccoon City incident. It's like the first 3 Resident Evil movies into one. More so the first 2. And cinematically, aesthetically, the production design, the look of the RPD station, perfect. The mansion looked great from what I can remember. But that's all I gotta say that's good about this. Everything else is just pure garbage in my opinion. Now, if you love this movie, more power to you. But I know a vast majority of hardcore fans hate this movie. Do I hate this movie? I can't say I hate it. I've only seen it once. But I did feel like it was an absolute disrespect as a Resident Evil fan. Specifically on how the characters were handled. They look nothing like their counterparts. The only 2 characters that I can say that look like their counterparts is Chris and Claire Redfield. Wesker doesn't look like Wesker, nor does he act like Wesker. Leon looks nothing or acts nothing like Leon, and he looks like Carlos, and he's treated like an absolute dumbass in this movie. Leon's not an idiot. Leon is a badass, intelligent mofo. Period. Point blank. But the most disrespectful thing I've noticed about this movie, Jill Valentine. My number 1. My all-time favorite character. Video game character. Just character in general. Well, it's actually Michael Myers, but still. She looks and acts nothing like her. And talk about some serious disrespect. Just how you Leon fanboys feel about him in this movie, that's how I feel about her in this movie. I have no quarrels with the actress. Nothing. No quarrels, no hatred towards the actors. They were being paid for what they were being told to do, directed to do. It's all in the writing, and it's all that. And the director thought that he was a hardcore Resident Evil fan. He claimed to be a hardcore Resident Evil fan. Clearly he wasn't. Clearly he wasn't. No hating. I'm just spitting facts. You're clearly not a Resident Evil fan. Aesthetically, it looks great. Everything else, pure ass. Oh, they brought Lisa Trevor in here too. I forgot about that. William Birkin, the actor who plays William Birkin. I like that actor. But I like I said, I've only seen the movie once, and it's been years. I'm just coming off with the top of my head certain things. But no, overall, and Ada's in the end of the movie too. And the cool thing about it, I believe, from what I heard, the face model for her in the remake games actually was the one who portrayed her at the end of this one. So I thought that was cool. And Wesker getting his glasses and such was a nice touch. But even then, that's not enough to save this movie at all. I have nothing else to say. It's just a pure disappointment and a slap to the face to the Resident Evil fans. That's just how I feel. A lot of people could say about the Milla Jovovich movies, which we are going to get to. But I have a different feeling towards those movies, specifically because I grew up watching them movies, and I also... Resident Evil 5, the game, got me into the movies and such. So, there we go. Speaking of which, coming at number, 10? Is going to be Resident Evil, the final chapter. Now, I had some expectations with this one. And as a fan, let me get this right off the bat. I know I'm going off topic like usual. I love Milla Jovovich. I've always been a fan of her. She's one of my favorite actresses. I love her stunt performance. I think she's an excellent stunt performer. Now, as far as acting ability, she's not the greatest, but she is entertaining to watch, hands down. Like I said, I watch these movies for pure entertainment. That's it. And then, not to mention, she's hot. So, of course. But no, she's a badass. I've always loved her. And not to mention, when I did first get into the game, Resident Evil 5, and got into the movies, I had a massive crush on her. Bad. My family knows. If you're watching this, you know. Anyways. No. After watching Afterlife in the theater, Retribution a couple of years later, and looking forward to Resident Evil, the final chapter, I had some expectations. After seeing the trailers and such, I was like, okay, they're obviously going in a different direction like they always do with each installment, and they retcon the ending like they usually do. And when I came into the movie, right off the bat, within 10 minutes, I'm like, what is up with these quick cuts? If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. The editing. What is with the editing? That was the most annoying thing about this movie. Take away the whole story or whatever, all that shit. Plot holes, of course, take that away. The editing was the most abysmal thing about this movie. You can't see what the hell's going on. You can't see what's going on at all. Everything's happening too fast. The quick cuts, the shots are going too fast. You can't see what's going on. It's too fast. I don't know why it's implemented in this movie, because everything was steady through the rest of the series. Paul W.S. Anderson, what the hell were you smoking, man? I like you, but what the hell? I don't know. I don't know what happened. There's got to be a valid reason why they made the decision to do it that way, but I don't think it's an absolute middle finger to us. I think Paul W.S. Anderson and Milla Jovovich, I think they're really good people. They seem like really cool people. But what do I know? That's just my opinion. No, this movie, Claire comes back. It's a nice touch. But I was expecting to see Chris Redfield, Leon, Ada, Jill coming back. Turns out they were all killed off screen. I was like, what the hell? Why? Come on. For years, I was wanting to see that. It was like they were building up to bringing those characters back with Alice and working with Wesker, fighting the Red Queen and all the rest of the undead and the bioweapons and all that. That would have been even better of a premise. That's a bummer. They brought back Dr. Isaacs. Ian Glenn comes back. I like Ian Glenn. I think he was cool as Dr. Isaacs in the second and third movie. I think that should have been it with him. I think he served his purpose in those movies, and that was it. Wesker should have been the main bad guy through and through. He was the main bad guy in Afterlife. He was the main bad guy in Retribution. And then he gets completely dumbed and nerfed to the ground by a fucking door. If you know what I'm talking about, you know. Out of everything that could have possibly killed him, a door catches him in the leg, and he's given a time bomb. That's the end of Wesker. I have my gripes with this movie, big time. I don't hate the movie. I think there were interesting concepts they had. Specifically, that the whole time Alice was a clone the entire time, and Alicia Ashford, I think her name was the real her, who was the little girl that ended up being the model for the Red Queen and such. I'm not going too in depth. If you've seen these movies, you know what I'm talking about. You're just here for my placements. That's all I gotta say. But no, this movie was a massive disappointment. I walked out of the theater super disappointed. Super disappointed. But I don't know what else to say, guys. Let's get on to number 9. Now this one compared to the other one, these two kind of switched around a lot for me. So today I'm going to go with Resident Evil Retribution. Now, I enjoyed this movie. I don't like it as much as the first 4. I think this is where the series really starts to fall flat with certain aspects. I still enjoy it though. I still have fun watching this movie. It picks up literally right off Afterlife. Alice wakes up in some containment facility underneath Russia, where they have all these test subjects, test placements. What's these facilities based off of Tokyo, New York, Moscow, other places to use as test fields for bioweapons and such. And there's clones in this again. Ada Wong is in this. I like Ada in this movie. Jill Valentine returns, and she's pretty much the main villain. I know I said Wesker was the main villain, but he's the background villain. But Jill's pretty much the central villain of this one. Leon's in it. Barry's in it. Even though they don't act everything like them, at least they kind of look like the character. And you place this in a whole different universe, really. See, this is why I have justification, a soft spot for these types of movies compared to Welcome to Raccoon City, because Welcome to Raccoon City should have been from the games itself. You have the actual characters from Welcome to put in Welcome Raccoon City, and you butcher them in that movie. This one, they're just pretty much cosplayers. That's all I gotta say about that. No, it literally feels like Afterlife in aspects. The music is epic. I love the music in Afterlife and Retribution. That's kick-ass music. Alice's design is awesome. She's a badass as usual. They're trying to get Alice out because she's an important asset to Wesker, which shows at the end. The final fight between Alice and Jill is awesome. I forgot to mention, they brought Rain back. Michelle Rodriguez. Oded Fair playing as Carlos from the second one and third movie as clones, and then you have one played by Colin Salmons, I think his name is, who was the leader of the group that invaded Alice's home to go into the Hive from the first movie. I think it's great that they came back as clones. It was fun. Like I said, Leon's in it, and there's a little girl pretty much in it that Alice is pretty much the mother figure to this little girl, because there's a clone of Alice from the beginning of the movie that was in the test subject and all that shit. Like I said, there's a bunch of clones of shit in this movie. It's crazy. But I think that aspect, I don't think it was really necessary for this movie. I don't think it was necessary to Alice's character. I mean, it's nice to see that she can be a mother figure and such, but I think that kind of distracts you from the actual story a little bit. But hey, that's just how I am. Like I said, returning characters is a nice touch and such. Ada Wong's a standout. Jill Valentine, I'm a hardcore Jill Valentine fan, as you all know. She whoops Alice's ass in this movie. She's the only one who whoops Alice's ass big time in this movie. I mean, You can't beat my queen, man. And Sienna Guillory, she does a really good job playing Jill, especially in Apocalypse, the second one in this series. So, there's that. And the ending, of course, where Wesker is pretty much the president of the United States at the end. Self-injects Alice, gives her powers back from since he took them away in the beginning of Afterlife, so she's not really a superhuman through Afterlife and Retribution, but now her powers are supposedly back. And then we have this awesome shot at the White House where Wesker's like, this is the beginning of the end. And this is the greatest, humanity's greatest last stand or something like that, whatever. Humanity's last stand, the beginning of the end. There it is. And then it pans out. We see all these bioweapons, see all these zombies. And then it gets ruined in the next movie. Fuck you. Anyways. Still. I do enjoy this movie for the most part. Even though they're all flawed, they're all stupid, I do enjoy it. Now, this is the one I actually recently watched. Next here is Resident Evil Infinite Darkness. I have heard mixed reception about this series, and I saw it on Netflix one night. And I thought, you know what? I've been in a Resident Evil mood lately for the past month, and I'll give it a shot. I do like some of the other CGI movies as well. We'll get into those here after a bit. So I watched this. There's only 4 episodes, and they're actually only like 25 to a half hour long. They flew by pretty quick. However, I think it's great to see Leon, Claire back, and the voice actors from the games, specifically Resident Evil 2 Remake, come back to voice them. This takes place... Does this take place... This takes place after Resident Evil 4, because I remember they were talking about Ashley and all that. And the president's in it. So we got to see who Ashley's dad looks like. In terms of plot and such, I feel like it's a drag. There's not really a whole lot that this series has to offer. Cinematically, looks fantastic. The action scenes aren't bad. I feel like it was kind of underwhelming. Sure, it kind of went by quickly because they're only like 25 minutes long. But it kind of felt like it was just underwhelming through and through. I don't know why. Now I see why people weren't so crazy about this one. I don't remember much about the story, so I'm sorry if I'm not going to explain it, but the one character, the girl, the dark-haired chick, I think she was pretty cool. But other than that, it really has a political nature to it. Obviously, because it's the White House, there's all these, you got the president and all this stuff in it. Obviously, DSO, Leon's part of that. He's like the ultimate security guard in the White House, so... But no. There were some aspects I enjoyed about this one, but overall, I felt kind of underwhelmed by it. That's all I really got to say. I don't necessarily like it, nor do I dislike it. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of in the middle there. There are some cool things. It visually looks impressive as hell, but I think they could have done much more with it. That's just my take. So number 7 is going to be Resident Evil Degeneration. This one definitely has a more interesting story to it. This was the first, I think this was the first animated CGI movie they had pulled off since Resident Evil 4's massive success. They brought Leon and Claire back, and I don't remember a whole lot about this. I really don't. Still, for that time, the visuals looked great. They're trying to... Oh my god, I'm having a brain fart. See, this is just... I should have watched all these before reviewing them. I really should have, shouldn't I? There's a character in here that... her brother is the main villain, and he's trying to get back at them for some reason. I should look up the story. That should be a good idea. You know, that should be a good idea. Should be. I'm holding everybody up. I'm sorry. I'm trash, I know. They're dealing with a new T virus outbreak that happened in an airport, which leads to a release of a G virus and a monstrous hybrid. So that's pretty much the premise of that. There's more to the story, of course, but it's your typical Resident Evil CGI film. There's a virus that's run rampant, and it's up to Leon and Claire or whoever to pretty much take care of who's behind it. And there's the other character that Leon accompanies. She's trying to assist Leon and trying to get her brother to reach understanding, and well, obviously he's beyond understanding, and he turns into a massive bioweapon and all that. But no, this one's a little bit better than the Infinite Darkness. They're all pretty much the same to some degree. Just some virus runs rampant and all blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? I know I'm not too vague. I'm just vague about it. That's all I gotta say about it. It's just typical. So number 6 is going to be Resident Evil Extinction. Again, these ones, right around in here, everything's just kind of I can't figure out which one. But for today, it's going to be this one. I do enjoy this movie for what it is. It definitely is a massive departure from what the video games have to offer at the time. But this is Alice's story. It's Alice's story. It takes place, a year? Maybe more than that. And everything's a wasteland. And then they retcon that in the next couple of movies. I don't understand that, but hey, whatever. I think bringing Carlos back was nice. Alice is trying to hide from everybody because she's being surveillanced by Umbrella, specifically Dr. Isaacs, played by Ian Glenn. We mentioned him before. This is Dr. Isaacs' his peak right here. He's trying to figure out how to domesticate zombies through samples of blood from clones of Alice. All the while they're trying to find the real Alice while she's trying to stay hidden from Umbrella. And then she eventually reunites with Carlos and then newcomer Claire Redfield, played by Ali Larter. This was her first feature. And I like Ali Larter playing as Claire. She's hard-hitting, she's strong, she's independent, and she's a leader. So that's all you got to say. And Kmart's in it. I forgot the character that plays her. I think she was cool. You got LJ, Mike Epps. That's how you pronounce his name. He's funny. I found him to be pretty damn funny in this one and Apocalypse. So, yeah. It's a shame that he got killed. But hey, it is what it is. And Carlos. I really like Carlos in these movies. Even though he was short-lived in a couple, at least he got to be in another one. Because the majority of them are only in like one movie, and then they're gone for the rest of the series. So, whatever. But no, I like Oded Fehr playing as Carlos. I think he was cool. I was bummed when he died. I remember the first time I watched the 3 movies with my grandpa. We watched all 3 of them, and I was like, man, they killed him off. I liked him. He was cool. And he was pretty much like a love interest to Alice as well. So, it is what it is. So... Damn, somebody's shooting the shit out of a gun outside. Sorry about that. I don't know if you guys heard that, but somebody's blasting a rifle or something out there. But if we're talking about Resident Evil, I guess the zombie apocalypse has begun or something. No, there are some cool action sequences and such and all that, but it is definitely a departure from what Resident Evil really is. There are cool sequences, specifically like the crows. The crows were definitely a standout. In this one, there's a wicked crow scene. They just gone freaking insane trying to kill everybody, and a lot of people died in the process. And then there's this like super zombies where they can run and shit after you after they were failed experiments to be domesticated. Dr. Isaacs uses them to go after the remaining survivors and shit. And of course it all builds up to a big fight between Alice and Dr. Isaacs, who, after being bitten, Dr. Isaacs gets bitten and uses all the antivirus that he has to completely overload himself into severe mutation, which he turns into pretty much a replica of the Tyrant from the first Resident Evil game. And it was a nice little climax to see the guy who's responsible for what happens to Alice in the previous movies, and they come to a head. And I forgot to mention a key point about the story is Alice finds a manual that pretty much says Alaska has a isolated safe haven called Arcadia Bay. Right? Arcadia? Or is it just Arcadia? Anyway, I'm thinking about Life is Strange. Anyways, yes. And Alice lets everyone take a helicopter and take off to go find that place while Alice stays behind. I would just say she was trying to sacrifice herself to save humanity. But hey, at the end of the day, she beats Dr. Isaacs and she discovers there are a lot of clones of her, and it builds up to a cool cliffhanger that definitely delivers in the next movie. Something that they definitely don't do in this series. So it obviously leaves off that she's coming after the remaining people of Umbrella, located in Tokyo. And this was the introduction to Albert Wesker, where he's the chairman, he's the leader, he's the guy behind the scenes. And he was played by a different actor in this one. I don't know the actor's name, but I definitely prefer Sean Roberts in the next set of films that come out. But no, it was a nice little cliffhanger. It got you eager, going, okay, what's going to happen next? So I do enjoy this movie for what it is. It's definitely a departure from what Resident Evil really is, but still, that's what these movies are. Just dumb fun. And Alice has nothing to do with the games anyway, so. Next up on the list is going to be Resident Evil the first. The first. The original. I do like this movie. It is fun. It's definitely its own thing. No other characters are in it. This is specifically Alice's character, and all these other characters. You got Matt, who is a cop, who is looking for a sister in the hive, which in the first 5 minutes, the T-virus gets loose. Pretty much causes what happens in this movie. Quarantined, exposed, infected, you name it. Alice gets knocked out. She awakes. She's suffering from amnesia. And a military force team sent by Umbrella are going in to investigate what the hell happens while they bring her along and another character they find in a train. So they are pretty much stuck in the hive when the Red Queen learns of their presence, and it's all about survival horror. It's action, and it's action heavy, and it has that survival horror aspect, as I said, and it's got some really cool moments. The practical effects are cool for the most part. There are some cheesy ass looking CGI in it. So, but I don't know what else to say. It's definitely heavy when it comes to the T-virus and the antivirus and the Red Queen and the zombies and all this other stuff. But it was a nice start to a series, especially when they try to do their own thing. I know that people don't really like these movies anyway because they're not the games. Well, I enjoy them because they take creative liberties into doing their own thing. As much as I would love to see them make an actual live-action adaptation based mainly from the games, which Welcome to Raccoon City drastically failed to do. But at least in terms of these movies, I enjoy them for what they are. And like I said, Milla Jovovich is one of my favorites. I love her. I always have. So, and there's a licker in this who actually freaking mutates to hell, man. That dude's I think it was a nice starter bioweapon. It was a nice starter bioweapon. Obviously, that we find out that the other assailant who's suffering from amnesia was Alice's supposed husband, who pretty much started everything. And Alice slowly remembers who she is throughout the movie. Just kind of mystery kind of type movie, trying to figure out what the hell is the deal with this chick. But hey, whatever. It is what it is. I don't have a whole lot to say. The ending, though, is her and the cop, Matt, reach the surface with the antivirus, but he's hurt. He's infected. And then another group of people in hazmat suits come out, and they straight up abduct both of them, and Alice awakes in a facility that's completely abandoned. Matt's gone. She has no idea where he is, or anyone is, and she's half naked trying to figure out what's going on. She ends up outside in the streets of Raccoon City, and you're like, holy shit, it's Raccoon City. They are literally in the heart of the city. She pulls a shotgun out, and it's game on from there. Talk about a cliffhanger. That was cool. I like that. So, which we'll get to the next couple of movies in the list here shortly. But next up on the list, this one, I was back and forth between the one we just discussed and Resident Evil Vendetta. This, just for the sole fact, Chris Redfield, Leon Kennedy, Rebecca Chambers. That's enough for me. This movie is fun as hell to watch. I remember when I bought this at Walmart, I didn't even know it was a thing. I just happened to look over and was like, oh, cool, I'm going to buy it. I'm in a Resident Evil mood. Me and my brother watched it, and we're like, this is cool, this is fun. It's stupid, but it's fun. And Chris was the highlight character. He's my boy. I love him more than Leon. I know everybody loves Leon. He's everybody's go-to boy. But I'm a Chris Redfield guy. And it was cool to see him get the spotlight in this one. Leon's not really in it until like halfway through the movie anyway. He gets the first like minute in the first minute of the movie. Talk about what's going on with him. And then he just disappears for half of the movie. But really, Chris and Rebecca are pretty much the standouts in this one. Leon, he stands out on his own terms in this one as well. But the great visually is it's awesome. The acting's really good. It can be cheesy at times, but it is what it is. That's the typical CGI Resident Evil movie for you. But it's fun as hell. Obviously, there's a freaking viruses going on, and there's a guy, Glenn Arias. I can't believe I remember his name. He was a weird dude in this one. He was definitely a strange villain. He's getting back at everybody because his wedding was ruined by a bioterrorist attack, which killed his entire family, friends, and his wife, his fiance. And what's weird enough, he takes interest in Rebecca Chambers, who looks very much like his wife. Again with those gunshots. Jesus, what's going on out there? Not the end of the world, is it? Or the zombie apocalypse? This is very strange. No, seriously though. I think that Glenn Arias was kind of a unique villain. He was strange as shit, but Chris Redfield's been coming after him for a while, I guess, and obviously Glenn Arias is one step ahead. He kind of reminded me of Wesker a little bit in this, but he ain't no Wesker. He ain't Wesker. Nobody's going to be like Wesker, except Wesker. So, but no. Cool action scenes. It all builds up to, obviously, him becoming a massive bioweapon. Yeah, it's typical, huh? But everybody has a spotlight in this. Everybody has a moment. It's really cool. It's fun. It's fun and entertaining. And that's all I got to really say about it. Number 3. Resident Evil Apocalypse. Oh, God. The closest to a Resident Evil game we're probably ever going to get here. Resident Evil Apocalypse, man. This one is just straight up Resident Evil 3. It's Resident Evil 3. The fact that my girl Jill Valentine's in it, Carlos is in it, and Nemesis is in it. Even though Nemesis is not the Nemesis we know, still. And it's in Raccoon City. And we get to see Alice whoop some ass. We get to see Jill Valentine whoop some ass. We get to see Carlos whoop some ass. We get to see Nemesis whoop some ass. He does kill some STARS members. Cool deal, man. He killed some STARS. He didn't go after Jill, though. That's the bummer. That's the thing I didn't like. But it's whatever. This is Alice's story, though. Another thing is, every time Jill gets the upper hand, thinking she's going to be like, yeah, I'm the star power. I'm the one who's going to whoop some. And then Alice comes in and intervenes and takes the spotlight. I know a lot of people hate that shit, but I don't care. It's Alice's movie. It's Alice's show. But no, this was a really fun movie. I do like Thomas Kretschmann. I think he was a cool villain. Now, kind of cool villain. I'm not saying much when I say they're cool villains, by the way. But no, the virus is running rampant. They're trying to figure out a way out while they make deals and such with this one guy whose daughter's trapped in a school. They have to go and get her. They have to go find a way out while they're at it and all this crap. All these different aspects, like Carlos's side, Jill's side, Alice's side, they all converge. They meet and they have to fight off Nemesis. And Alice has to fight off Nemesis, really, because they're both the same with powerful abilities. Alice is trying to discover that oh my God, I have powers inside me. She's super strong. And then she finally, it turns out Nemesis is Matt from the first movie. That was crazy. And finally, he sees the light and helps Alice fight back, and then he dies by a helicopter, of all things. And then the missile obviously comes in and destroys Raccoon City while they're trying to get out in a helicopter. Alice takes she didn't survive the crash because she took a hit to save the girl, Angie. And then this is where Dr. Isaacs comes in. He comes in and revives her, and this is where her powers come to full fruition. And then she gets out. Jill and Carlos. Oh, I forgot about freaking LJ. LJ's in this. That dude's hilarious. Oh, God, he's funny as usual. He comes in, he helps out, then they all get Alice out, and then you realize that they have control of Alice. The Umbrella does. And then everything in Resident Evil Extinction happened. So this one's definitely, in terms of faithfulness compared to the Paul W. Anderson movies, this is probably the most faithful to a Resident Evil game, for obvious reasons. But that's not enough because the next two here, I really enjoyed these movies. I know people, specifically the one we're about to talk to, I know a lot of people don't like this one. But I really like it for the obvious reasons I'm going to get to. And that's going to be Resident Evil Afterlife. I was super excited to see this one because this will be the first one that I would see in a theater. And I like how it visually looked. There was something, and the fact that I used all the 3D aspects from Avatar, they put it in this. It has a different tone and vibe to it compared to the first three movies. Some people may not like that. But I liked it. What do I have to say? So it takes a place, it literally promises the opening scene that we're going to get at the end of Extinction. Alice and her clones invade Umbrella's headquarters in Tokyo, where Wesker is at. They go in and they go obliterate everyone. Wesker, of course, outsmarts everyone and gets out. But the real Alice is waiting for him. And then what does Wesker do? He injects her, takes the powers away from her, and beats the living shit out of her. That's how Wesker should be, compared to the final chapter. Sean Roberts, I like him as Wesker. I think he portrayed him pretty well for a Wesker. And then, obviously, they get into a plane crash. Somehow, she survives. And then it takes place months later. Alice is going to Arcadia in Alaska. She finds out the helicopter's abandoned that Claire Redfield took. Nobody's home. However, she discovers Claire, who is being controlled by a device. I wonder where that's from, huh? So she's suffering from amnesia. And they end up in Los Angeles, where they meet a new batch of characters, such as Luther West by Boris Kojo. I like him in this movie. I like him. Kim Coates from Sons of Anarchy. He's in this. We got other characters in here. And then the thing that I like about these characters in this movie is they actually take the time to establish their backgrounds. You don't get that in any of the Resident Evil movies, but this one. And I like that little touch. I thought that was nice. What were they doing? What were their lives like before the apocalypse? There you go. That's enough. A little bit of character development. Just a teeny bit. That was enough. I liked that. Oh, and Alice. I love her design in this movie. I have a figurine of her, by the way, sitting in my bedroom. Should I break it out? Should I? Yeah, I'm going to do it. Ah, there she is. Hard to see. There you go. From Afterlife. Of course, I got her katana right here. She's going to poke your lives out. There you go. Alice. Bad bitch. She's a bad bitch, man. Hands down. Told you I loved her. But no, seriously. I really enjoy this movie. It's just dumb fun. It's stupid as hell. It's cheesy. But it's entertaining as hell. Chris Redfield finally is in this. And what... the funniest thing is, I was getting into Prison Break. I think I was getting into Prison Break, or maybe this was the reason I got into Prison Break, is because of him in this movie. And I kept hearing about Prison Break. I watched him, No, I did. I did watch Prison Break after this. I'm sorry. I know I'm getting off topic, but no, Wentworth Miller. I think he was a great casting choice for Chris Redfield. He had that look. He didn't look entirely like Chris Redfield, but you know what I mean. But seriously, no, just having. I know they're all not like entirely like their counterparts in the games, but just having them in it is just. I was like, all right, cool, nice touch. Chris Redfield, Claire Redfield, teaming up with Alice to fight Wesker. Now you see why this is at the top of one of my top favorites right here. Because the zombies, the Executioner from Resident Evil 5 is in this, and Wesker from Resident Evil 5 is in this. And the fight scene with Wesker, Chris, and Claire is ripped right out of Resident Evil 5. Come on. It's literally inspired by Resident Evil 5, which was my favorite Resident Evil at the time. The Resident Evil game that got me into Resident Evil. And that's why this movie is at the top, one of my top favorites. But it was my number one. It was my number one. That's why it's number two. Because one movie beat the shit out of this one and everything else. No, seriously. I do overall enjoy this movie. And it has a crazy ending after a bit. The one problem I have with this movie is how Wesker was easily beaten. I didn't like that. That's the only thing I got a problem with. I'm glad that Lex Luthor survived. Lex Luthor. Oh my god. Did I say Lex Luthor? Luthor West. Jesus. This ain't Superman. Oh my god. I've lost my mind. But no. Luthor West. I liked him in this movie. And I forgot to touch on Retribution. When he was killed off, I was like, man. Again, same with Carlos. I was like, man, you killed him off. Come on. And it was just in the most anticlimactic way, too. It was just abrupt. I'm like, oh, he's dead. Well, what the fuck? Anyways, I do really like the movie. The ending was pretty cool. And it brings Jill Valentine back in a post-credit scene. I was like, oh God, it's her being controlled. And Wesker survives in the parachute. I saw that, by the way. A nice cool callback, by the way, where Wesker used the bombs to blow up the facility in the beginning. He tried to do the same thing with Arcadia, the ship. And Alice threw it back in his face by putting it in the plane before she even goes in the room where he was awaiting her. So, yeah. And he still survives, so it is what it is. No, I really enjoy this movie. It's dumb fun. It's stupid as hell, but it's fun. That's all I gotta say. Now, we get to my number one. My favorite Resident Evil movie, CGI, live action, however you put it. This is the most fun Resident Evil movie I've watched forever. I've watched this movie so many times. Resident Evil Death Island. I wonder why that is. Can you all make a wild guess why I really love this movie? I'll wait. I won't have to wait long. It's Jill Valentine. She finally got the spotlight she needed in a movie in general. Because she has been completely left-handed so bad for years. She was completely forgotten. This came out in 2023, or was it 2024? When did this come out? 2023? Yeah, 2023. Worst year of my life. At least there were some things that were good in it, but that ain't much. As far as movies and games go, it was a great year. Everything else was pure fucking dog shit. But no, seriously. Resident Evil Death Island is the most fun. It's literally like the Avengers. You got Jill, Chris, Claire, Leon, Rebecca fighting off another enemy. And there was another enemy, Dylan. Dylan. I found him to be a very interesting villain. He's just a victim. He's a victim. He was forced into killing his friend after they were all infected. And then that has a psychological toll on him. He does this Russian roulette shit. He spins this damn thing and he tries to shoot himself and it clicks and it never goes off. He's got a cane. He's got this little stance. And he decides to use his PTSD and his vengeance onto the people that just makes, supposedly to him, makes everything worse. When they're just trying, when everybody's trying to save the day, they're trying to save the world as best they can. But to Dylan's eyes, they're making it worse. So he's going to he's going to make them feel what he felt. So he infects everybody but Jill, Jill has been through a lot of shit. I'm telling you right now. She has gone through so much PTSD from the mansion incident to the Raccoon City incident, is fighting Nemesis, getting infected, damn near getting transformed into a zombie, and being abducted after fighting Wesker with Chris, and being used as a test subject and being mind controlled. And you got to think, man, she has gone through so much hell, and this movie proves. And this is why I love this movie. This is about Jill Valentine, her redemption arc. You could say that about Resident Evil 3, really, because of her stuff with Umbrella and shit, but this is her redemption arc. And I love it. The old Jill comes back in this one. She's bitter. She's sassy. Yes, some people may not like that about her, but I love that about her. She's a strong, independent woman. Quit being a pussy. I love my wife for who she is, no matter what version it is, except for Welcome to Raccoon City. Again, not hating on the actress, I'm hating on the writing. Jill Valentine has a personality in Resident Evil 3 Remake. She has a personality in Death Island. She didn't have a personality in everything else. And yet you love that version more than this one. Or maybe it's because she was cunning, she was helpful, she was there to help you instead of being a bitch. Well, let me tell you something, guys. If you go through hell so much, it takes a psychological toll on you, and you're suffering from PTSD, wouldn't that make you bitter? I know what it feels like to have PTSD with certain aspects, especially health issues. Health scares, to be specifically. That made me a little bit bitter about it, but you get what I'm saying. When it comes to, or like, say for instance, relationships and shit, the worse, every time you get your heart broken or ripped out, wouldn't you get more bitter? Yes, you would. Because that's how I am. I'm getting a little bit political and personal. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. I am just expressing my point of view of how I feel about Jill Valentine, my favorite character of all time, and I'm defensive about it because I love her and she's my wife. That's all there is to it. I'm crazy, I know. But no, seriously, the movie is super enjoyable, and the fact that it pulls an Avengers, brings everybody together, and Jill Valentine's the main character pretty much, and it's fast-paced as hell. It goes by quick. I mean, it goes by quick. And of course, everybody has a moment in this, but Jill Valentine specifically, most importantly of all, she needed it. She needed it more than everybody. Chris and Leon's had their moments, especially Leon. And you could say Claire too. Claire's been in other CGIs, but Jill needed this. And she got it. And I'm very excited to see what they got in store for the future. I hope they do it again. I think they will do another animated series just like this one again. I think they should bring Barry back. I think they should bring Ada. I want to see Jill interact with Ada. Oh my god, that would be so awesome to see that. But no, seriously, this video has run too long. We're about 50 minutes into it. And that's my Resident Evil top 11, I guess. So yeah, that's all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content like this. I plan on doing a top 10 characters from the games. So be sure to look for that when I do make it. But yeah, I hope you guys understand where my list is, where I'm coming from with the list. If you don't like it, I'd like to know what your list is. I want to see your point of view of it. I want to know what your worst one is. I want to see your ranking list. I want to see. I'm very curious what your guys' list is compared to these ones. But this is just mine. It's just because of entertainment and enjoyment out of them. Nothing else, because they're not for plot or character development. If I do a top 10 actual movie list of anything and everything, I'll show you my list, because I do have a top 10. But for now, it's Resident Evil. We're in a Resident Evil spirit because Resident Evil Reckon's coming up. So, yeah, that's all I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out. Have a good one.